according to the GPS, 0.7 miles, and I will turn on my last road. It's a 12-hour drive out here, but it's been just a gorgeous drive. And I'm going to be pulling in here to a friend of mine, Bob Walker, who's going to be the guide for Continental Divide Outfitters. And I'm going to try to get on to a deer yet this week and an elk. I didn't draw a bull tag, so unfortunately I'm going to just be able to get a cow tag, but hey, that'll be worth it too.
Wayne finally arrives at Continental Divide Outfitters near the town of Roundup, Montana, about 50 miles north of Billings.
Now there is a familiar face.
Yeah, you too.
Talking on phone and no time to see you.
I know it, I know it.
What's it been, 4 years?
Yeah, it's been 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Up first is a drive around with Bob Walker, just to get the juices flowing.
You know, the first day driving around, I was so impressed by the number of animals that are here. Just standing around all over the place. It was unbelievable. I think there was 200 deer in the one field, 4 by 3 maybe. And I was really impressed. I mean, I kept thinking, man, this is going to be a slam dunk. It's going to be no problem going out there and taking a deer. To the one to the right of him, he's a 4 by. So you know that they're here, which really sets you up for a nice hunt and the anticipation every day of being able to get something.
With both a cow elk tag and a deer tag in his pocket, Wayne's bow hunt begins.
Step over here. Yeah, he's still in the same place. That's the problem with the stock on some of them. Blow those does out.
Bob Walker says the elk and deer populations here are doing extremely well.
A lot of animals, a lot of elk. Populations are as high as they've ever been. Bull to cow ratio for elk is extremely high, which of course means there's a lot of activity, a lot of rut action, a lot of calling. So it's fun, real fun hunting. And the deer population is real strong. Unfortunately, this year we've had record rain, so they're scattered out a little more. But as fall comes on and the cold comes in, more frost, I think we're going to see a whole lot more hitting the fields here real soon. Even though we still have quite a few to look at, you know, and work with right now, even in archery season.
Over the coming days, Wayne Inger had multiple exciting encounters with his bow. So why don't we just take a look at a few of those highlights?
When I was sitting in the Bale blind, directly behind me, about 9 feet or so, is the river. I could hear the elk coming off the backside of the river into the water, splash, splash, splash. And here on the south side of the blind comes up a nice bull and then a couple of calves. And so that was interesting just watching them. Of course, it would have been nice to have a bull tag. And so that would have been a done deal real quick at 20 yards. One of the most unique experiences was a pretty nice 6x6 bull came out and stood in front of the blind at 11 yards and had no clue they were there. The wind was actually blowing right towards it, and it had no clue that we were there. So those straw bale blinds work really good. If you're going to be out hunting, you want to stay clean at all times, and this stuff is actually pretty good. Been using the scent killer for a long time to keep my clothes nice and clean, and this is into the hunt, and really my clothes are ready for it. I did take one shot at a whitetail, and unfortunately it was a little late at night that when they came out, they decided to use the other side of the fence, and found it a little more difficult to take that shot than when I'm shooting at a target. You always think you can make that shot, but then when your reality sets in, targets don't move. Yeah, didn't quite work out, just plain missed. I shot just over him. I had to anticipate I have a 60-yard pin, so I put it up high and I still shot over top of him. So that's the way it goes. That closes out the evening.
Continuing now in Montana, at Continental Divide Outfitters north of Billings, Wayne Inger is back for his second trip during the rifle season and looking to fill his cow elk and mule deer tags. The game is a little more on the alert, but he and guide Bob Walker still feel his odds are good. So let's watch.
On the very first morning of the hunt here, we had, I don't know, 6, 7 mule deer bucks out in the field with a bunch of does. Just get ahead of them, go set up in the draw and wait for them. So I went around the backside of a hill to try to get into a ravine to catch them when they came through. And it's one of those situations. Animals just decided to use a different ravine. Well, looks like the animals are not coming up this way. No harm done. Hey, that was just the first morning, so we had plenty of opportunities left. Of course, then I had another opportunity for basically a spot and stalk situation, and that was the next morning, and we had a pretty nice buck hung up underneath a dead tree back in the shade, and it was still pretty early in the morning, so it was a great opportunity to go out and try to get on that animal. So a spot and stalk situation to me is one of the most enjoyable things you can do. So I approached it from the backside with my bow. The sun was in my favor, the wind was in my favor. Unfortunately, this ground is just a little bit dry, and I think it heard me coming because I got within 20 yards of him. And just at that particular time, I think I just stepped on something a little bit too loud, spooked it, and it got up and ran. Didn't know what it was, didn't even look back to see what it was. He just slowly walked off. I have no clue what happened. The wind was in my face. But I felt it swirl once, but he was doing the draw. So quiet. The next really cool opportunity was the fact that we got put into a bale blind. Well, here's home sweet home for the night. Bob's pulling out back in my straw blind that I hunted in the last time I was here. A lot of animals here, so now it's just a matter of them cooperating tonight. We have a very strong wind this evening, so I don't know if it's going to cause some problems, but hopefully it won't. And just anticipating a good night. Straw bale blinds are rather unique because they really hold down your scent, and it provides excellent cover. This should work. All I'm just going to do is get the deer to come out. And that should be in about an hour. It was rather cool because we had some animals come early, an 8-point buck, and then there was a fawn. They all came cruising through early, and then nothing. It was dead, just totally dead. And the conditions were such that I had really anticipated that we'd have animals all over by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. As it turned out, the first animal that came out was a really, really nice mule deer buck at about 350 yards. Well, it jumped the fence because the grass was greener on this side of the fence than the other side, and it commenced to eating and eating and eating, and I thought, it certainly acts like it wants to come this way, but it just does not want to stop eating. Well, pretty soon it quit, and it looked up and just decided it was going to come straight to the blind. He went all the way across that open field, bringing it down to 250 yards, 200 yards, 100 yards, and I'm starting to think, I'm going to get an opportunity. This animal is actually going to come right up in front of the bale blind, and this is going to be all there is to it. It's going to be a done deal. Well, as animals do, they, about the time you think they're going to do a certain thing, they don't. It stopped 35 yards from the bale blind, decided that it wanted to rake its antlers on every willow that was down in that little hole. Pretty soon the time is ticking away. I've got 5 minutes of shooting time left, and then I got 3 minutes, and then all of a sudden the time was up. Well, shooting hours just ended, and of course I had this beautiful muley buck came all the way across the field. I didn't think it was going to be time to get him here before the season ended tonight. But then he gave me hope. He started walking all the way across. He's hung up 35 yards away in the willow patch, scraping his antlers, and he's still there. And he won't step out in the open. And it's too late now. The season's ended for the night. So, hey, that's the way hunting goes someday. Tomorrow will be another day.
Continuing now after days of hunting with a few memorable encounters, Wayne's looking for a success story to finally come together.
Well, anybody ever says that elk hunting is easy, I would beg to differ. It was one of those situations again this morning. Up at 5, on the spot, way early, hour and a half before shooting light. Knew that the animals were coming in real early across that meadow, so we got there real early, got set up. Wind was totally in our favor, except for 30 seconds. 30 seconds, the wind decided to switch and come right into my back of my neck. And it alerted the first animal, and then the second animal, and busted weather. They smelled right now, they're busted, they're going back. And now all the animals are off the field and they're all back to where they're going to be bedding for the day. So even though it's only 8:45, the hunt's over for the morning. Well, what should we do next? And just decided, hey, let's go check out where that buck had been the day before and just see if it, by some chance, was back in the same spot, because he looked pretty content there. We got to the top of the hill. There it was again, the same buck, bedded in exactly the same spot that had spooked the day before, and it was just laying there and not paying any attention. He doesn't even know we're here. He isn't watching us. Right here. Take him right here. I just didn't ever expect, really. I thought it would be in the area, but not sitting on exactly the same spot, laying down in exactly the same bed that it had been the night before. Yeah, that's the same buck. That's a nice buck. I range it 160 yards. 160 yards. Gun up. It never moved.
Good job.
Thanks, man. Hey, I can't believe it. He's in exactly the same spot he was yesterday. That is unbelievable.
I can see why you couldn't get him with a bow. He's underneath that thing. You can't get to him.
Oh, this has been so difficult trying to get anything with a bow because they're just not cooperating coming by the stands. And so I decided, hey, I got to put a pull on my gun and get one of these guys.
Well, that's a good buck. That is a good buck.
We all do different things. We have crossbow shooters, we have bow shooters, longbow, recurves, compound bow shooters, we have muzzleloaders, we have rifle hunters. And there's a season for all these things, and the reason is because there's many people with different preferences. I personally like it all. I have no problem going out and hunting with every one of those weapons that extends my season. But I also want to be successful.
Oh, he's got pretty forks on him. Look how wide those forks are. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Nice job. Pretty buck.
Yeah, he's very pretty. Boy, these things have got such big bodies. I never cease to amaze me how big these mule deer bucks get.
Oh, he's still probably 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know. Has to be.
Well, just looking at the body size. Well, very pleased with this one.
He's got such good curves. Look at those curves. That is.
Well, I like he's got some nice forks.
Oh, you'll be happy with him.
Oh, I am very happy.
Again, congratulations, and good shot. One shot kill.
I can't tell you how exciting and enjoyable this has been. You guys are so easy to work with, and you got animals all over the place.
It's been great, and I'm glad that you guys can come here and enjoy this and be successful.
You know, when you go out on a hunt like this, you can prepare yourself by shooting your targets and shooting and practicing. But I found that even after all of those things don't always happen the way you plan. The animals don't move in the direction that you're planning them to. They come out in weird directions. They smell you, they spook, you're looking into the sun, and all those things that you kind of forget about from the previous year's hunt, that things aren't perfect when you're out hunting. You gotta start preparing for the unexpected things.
We offer elk, mule deer, whitetail, Merriam turkey, pronghorn antelope. We have private lands we hunt, so we can manage them the way we want to manage them. And so we're always able to take matured animals.
Congratulations, and good shot.
One thing that's great about here, it's easy terrain. The hills aren't real steep. The steep pitches don't last long. It's just easy. Anyone from young age, you know, starters at 12 years old to 75-year-old people, men, women can hunt this with ease. You know, we have so many different types of opportunities that we can put them in. So everyone usually sees a lot of action.
What an incredible place and place to hunt. One some of you may want to think about consider booking for yourself. I know I couldn't help but feel a little envious by not having the chance to go, but then again, there are only so many hunts one man can accomplish in a lifetime, and I have been truly blessed by taking part in probably more than my share. I'm Babe Winkelman. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, everybody, hey, good hunting.